I have gotten the Moderna double vaccination and the Moderna booster, and I'm not happy about it at all. Greetings from Marscarf. Today we're going to talk about, without a claymation and animation in particular, we just have a live video feed here. Not even a live stream, but just more like a actual discussion with the live feed, or an offline feed of my clay prop here. You may have seen me tease on Dr. ABC already, on the main channel for claymation. But this is like going to be the first technically clay oriented content creation that's not so much quality related, but still helps me get things off my chest to say at least about recent events. But like, I don't know, as I maybe just teased right in the beginning of the video, but we're gonna talk about things related to the coronavirus and the vaccines, and we're gonna try to expand a little bit into like the ideas I have for future content concerning this ghost character right here. What I'm gonna do with him more often if I can explain that in this video. And finally, I have a bit of an afterword if I can. But I most likely the first part I'm gonna explain a bit if it's not too private or hard to record while I'm in the house with other people that may or not believe me on this one. But yeah, how should I word this? I'm not unhappy per se. I think I just like, for those of you who are libertarians, agorists, anarchists, etc., counter economists, you kind of already get that there's, you just whatever you were able to validate or explore when it came to concerns with the virus and the vaccine, as many agorists already call it, the scamdemic, the jab, etc., etc. And while everyone who calls them conspiracy theorists or Trump supporters, they don't have to get the back end of that too much. But it's like but that's for another video, I guess. If I can explain that part, if I need to make a video about drama, but the drama can still be important though. But I will technically, of all things, I think it's best to explain this in my 2 sentences words. I am personally responsible for getting the vaccine that many times over, 3 times already, in fact. But I do think, and go against me if you need to on this, because I may not be accurate. I may not be accurate or even reasonable on this, but whatever that means. I can swear I was coerced and forced into taking the vaccine that many times over, like 3 times in a row, like 2 plus 1 or 2.5% multiplier, whatever you call that. I used to make a number phrase about that, but yeah, it's basically for the first 3 follow-ups, and by golly, 4 plus vaccines in a row would be terrible. It's not, if it's not terrible enough, but I'm not explaining a lot, not specifically, but I'm just getting these thoughts on my chest. But basically, when I had been spontaneously scheduled for the first couple double vaccinations, I wasn't so, like, how do you say this? Like, I wasn't like in total resistance mode. I just heard the week or 2 before and earlier in February and January of 2021 that I would have had some stance in trying to avoid it on my own terms, consciously. I would have consciously known how to avoid it on my own terms, but with the information I found by then. But by the time it was March and April for the double vaccination, I wasn't directly and aggressively trying to resist the vaccine. So that was for the double vaccination. For the booster shot, by October or November this year, and very recent actually, a day or 2 ago, actually just yesterday afternoon, but like literally 24 hours ago almost, as I was recording, I'd just been administered the booster, and that was not so much of a. That time I did try to experiment with, and yes, I kind of gamified my life a bit. Who knows how life or death works at that point? But I gamify even serious things in general, not just with the coronavirus or the vaccines. It's like by gamify things, I make them entertaining, even when it's about survival. I said this for other things before, but when it came to getting a booster shot, I gamified the idea of trying to avoid it, and that it was still very important to me to make sure I could see if I could actually prevent myself from getting it. But it was not important to me. It was still important to see if I could get that out of my way. And I'm not saying that as if I had a high success rate. Obviously, of course, I didn't have it happening like that yet. I've still been unfortunate with that, and been getting it ever since this year. The actually more than likely, even like not even getting the actual coronavirus, but for the common flu, but or getting killed off by a vaccine. Jesus Christ. But basically, there are 2 things that concern me following the fact that I got the booster and the double vaccination from Moderna. By the way, if you get them from the same brand, they're even more effective than if they're cross-branded. So I did get Moderna 3 times, so I'm kind of fucked in by that right now, even more. But 2 things concern me at this point. It's either the potential that I could still make my life worth something as long as I manage to get my shit together and potentially move out or do other things in my life, that other Agorist projects while I'm still alive, whatever lifespan I have longer or shorter at this point because of the vaccines, inspired the vaccines actually, you know. And oh, I've actually, by the way, I've been feeling a little terrible since the vaccination from the booster shot. The vaccination wasn't too bad, but it was still like, you know, from double vaccination it was just a sting, but from booster it was just all day slight pains and headaches that weren't too terrible, but they were like just recurring, like not as bad headaches I had before this coronavirus thing, but you know. But yeah, it's either trying to be more like an agorist and anarchist and trying to move out is the first thing, and to follow my lifestyle projects in general, including no found senior retention, by the way. For those of you who don't know, I'm a porn addict, and however I define porn and sex addiction, then yeah, how you go about that. But I can explain later. But the other thing was to see if I could actually have closure in my family. Now, I know this isn't ideal for people who I shouldn't be forgiving for this, but it's just it's only a matter of time before I have to do something about my own life, considering the former points. I have to give them some kind of closure and forgiveness if I can. If I can't, I still want to make sure I can make the most of that time with them while I can. So that's the second. The second thing is kind of very compassionate, as you can imagine. The first thing is very straightforward and strict in a sense, like trying to move out as soon as possible, or trying to make sure that I can control my life, not limited to failing to avoid the vaccine booster. It's pretty sickening at that point. But you know, that's the first 3 points I made. I think I was gonna do an afterward and explain content I can make. The content I can make for this channel while I'm still alive from the vaccine booster is, if you see more of this guy, he might be animated, he might be like doing stuff like crypto or celebrity of the week or whatever, like my 2 cents does. He might be doing like some kind of like animation where he's like showing off some kind of a political scheme or whatever. There's just a few ideas there. There was a list I made earlier. I don't know if I have it right here, but it's basically along those lines. It's like a my 2 cents review of my 2 cents content channel. There's actually explaining like do you farm, do you crypto, or do you just get sucked into fiat or whatever, fiat currency, I don't know, something like that. And then if it was like, you know, if I ever get into occultism, magic, or whatever, as a aside to my old content from the Dr. HP channel, which used to be called Crosswind, and then explaining occultism, no FAP, and anarchy in succession at that point. But yeah, and so my afterword now for you would be, or I mean my question of the day would be, what are you willing to do to prove that you have control over things and that you don't have to be confused like me? Like, because I've been very confused, obviously. That's one of my weaknesses, other than you're being irresponsible and being somewhat of an intelligent person, which depends on how that's being defined. Not always true, but you know. So what are you willing to do to get past your struggles, not limited to losing control or getting even too much control? What are you willing to do to make sure that you're not taking infringing rights of others, but also protecting your rights? So that's all I got for you guys for now. I don't use a slogan for the alt channel, but stay still since I'm on the move. I accept you, Tony, and remember that there's nothing more beautiful than desperation. That there's nothing more devastating than pretending not to care. I'm going to upload this without a thumbnail. I'm going to upload it without, you know, much other else going for it. It's just going to be this live video esque thing that's not even live. It's just me recording my brilliant popular. It took like 2 hours. No, claymation, I still say that claymation is not its tedious progress. And so in that effect, I can make these agorism claymations if I so choose to. However tricky or easier that is, I'm going to make those claymations in a rapid process if I'm passionate about doing that. But otherwise, I should be fine for now. I just want to get off my chest. I'll make this video recording for 9 minutes and end it here. Not have to do it for like 10 minutes straight for some weird reason. Not compulsive help, but yeah. See you guys. Take care. March here, by the way. Bye.